Hello and welcome to the Best Overall Show. I'm
Hello,
Cass.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Noah. And be quiet. I'm trying to paint.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today, we are going to do our normal sort of recap, but also we're going to talk about a subject that is impacting at least the three of us.
I'm
Maybe
going to be
you.
right back. Sorry.
Okay,
Family
no
is
worries.
insane today. We're back. Go.
It's very on brand for the episode. But yeah, we are just going to talk about struggling with real life and how that translates into your relationship with 40K. Um, Joe, how you been? What's going on?
I'm doing good, hanging in there. This is always, and we'll talk about this more later, but like Memorial Day to Labor Day is just hell on wheels for me every year.
Yeah.
So I'm just right balls deep in the middle of it right now.
Oh
So
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Is Labor Day, is that a Canadian holiday as well?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We
okay.
get it off.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I've just been kind of bouncing back and forth, trying to figure out what I want to do. I've been playing a little Drakari and Sisters, and I think I'm probably just gonna settle back on Orcs. So
Well, you did
hey,
often kick my teeth in when we played with your orcs, so
thanks.
I don't think that's a bad choice.
I enjoy playing them, and they're definitely my favorite army to build and paint. So uh, and I did sneakily acquire 60 boys in new in the box for cheap
Sweet.
That always helps.
for like $90. So that was pretty good. There is a caveat though; they are old world boys, so I'll have to figure out something with sluggas to get sluggas on them. But I'm just gonna mix and match their parts with the 40k orcs, so they're all like interchangeable and modular anyway. So
There you go.
yeah,
Awesome.
what have you been up to?
I have been kind of just prepping the last legs of my T Sons commission, um, and trying to get that ready with intended delivery date of Worlds in Atlanta. But also just trying to get that off my desk so I can clear up for some other projects.
Delivery day Atlanta in like November.
Correct.
Holy moly!
But I
Okay.
mean, I'm trying to get it ready well before then
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
can
yeah.
start working on other stuff. It's just that's my deadline.
Wow. How much do you got to burn through?
I've got 9 Zangors on discs, 4 characters that like nondescript characters, Araman, and then Magnus and 2 Work Beasts.
Oh, mutiliths.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so giant tentacly
yeah. I'm
monsters
looking forward to those
burning
actually.
portals on their back.
Yep, big burning
How
portals.
come? How come? World leaders don't get the other thing that kit builds. That thing just doesn't exist. Isn't it a
Yeah,
giant corn monster?
I couldn't tell you they were secondhand and already built.
Oh, Noah, can you back me up on this?
I only play World Eaters randomly because my brother has a World Eaters army and I'm bored. So I don't know. I'm not like a lore monster.
Well, no, I'm just saying that mutilith kit builds a second model out of it that is a corn monster. Ah, here it is. Yeah, the slaughter brute. It's got all the swords and stuff sticking out of its back.
I think that's for. Um, I think that's for AOS.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure it is. I'm just saying, how
Um,
come
I have no
world
idea.
eaters don't get it? Because
My
that's
mutiliths for my Thousand Sons army are corrupted Dread Knights in a corrupted Grey Knights army. So
oh, cool.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, that's been me. Noah, what about you?
my life is a never-ending sea of chaos. Um, I'm getting ready for WTC. Lists are public now, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yep.
So I'm playing Chaos Knights, and I'm painting Mexican, like Mexico flag colored Chaos Knights for my army, and I'm going to freehand. I did the sketching out today. I'm freehanding Team Mexico logo on the shoulders, the big guy, and
I forgot to ask, how did you end up becoming a part of Team Mexico?
I applied for Team USA. Didn't quite meet the cut. Team USA had kind of been like friends with Team Mexico, like through their process of submitting for the submitting that year, and so I believe Ben Urich and I think Sean Naden basically like recommended me to Team Mexico, and then they needed an eighth person to be their mercenary because they were a little short on people. So here I am, and I just happen to play all the armies that like no one on their team plays. Like no one on their team plays Chaos Knights. No one on their team even owns GSC. No one on their team, there's a bunch of different armies. I was the only one who had Tide. I ended up back on Chaos Knights. So here I am.
That's awesome. Well, happy progress. I don't think we have much happy progress.
I sent, these are the things I did today.
Yeah,
really.
This is all Noah. Just go ahead.
Good.
I see this is your really free hand. Cool. What is this weapon called again?
I know it as like the Aztec sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, because an Aztec sword is like two wooden planks essentially forced together, and then it has you put it's got slits on the side, and you put
it starts with a C, I think, right?
Obsidian, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's got the little teeth.
As you beat people with it, it breaks, and then it creates more sharp pieces, and eventually it breaks low enough that it's just a club, and then you go and you scrape them all out and you replace them.
That's cool.
What's next?
Very, very deadly.
This was the Angron I did for my brother's World Eaters army. This wasn't quite complete. I ended up doing a little more on the basing and going back and adding a couple more colors for highlights, and then redoing some of the stuff on the skulls on the axe. But it's pretty close. So I kind of speed painted a bunch of the army that he had that wasn't quite done, and then I spent literally like a whole week just painting this. You can't quite see, but like the white is like 4 colors up to an off-white, and then went over the top with the like a pearlescent eggshell turbo dork color shift paint. So when you're looking at it, you get like angles of metallic multicolor, like shimmer over the white.
This is all non-airbrush?
Yeah, this is entirely by hand, no airbrush.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I think the next one shows the sword. Yeah, and then in the other one I hadn't done the underside of the sword yet, and this was just fluorescent paints leading up to the sword. I think the one on the left is more done than the one on the right. And so it was super cool. It was just literally fluorescent over white. I did like airbrush a gradient fade of like white into red into black, and then I went over that with the fluorescent paints by hand, and then over that with a color shift turbo dork 40 glasses, like a translucent one. So you get it. It's kind of cool. You get multicolor like rainbow shimmer going at an angle kind of like this, because that's where I did the brush strokes intentionally, back and forth, like straight up and down, which is counter to the color gradient. So if you look at it at the right angle, you see like it's like rainbow over rainbow in the light, which is super sick.
Cool. That's awesome. It looks fantastic. Is it true that Yarick's skull is on there?
I think so, actually. There's one with like a hat.
It's a shame. That's a shame. Yarick killed off screen. Sad. And then I'm assuming this is the team logo for Mexico, which is
so that's
awesome.
Basically what I was freehanding. Right. Yeah. So I just didn't have enough room to like do it justice to have the swords on the same panel as that helmet and the feathers. So I opted to do cross swords on the one side, and then the head with the headdress on the other side.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. I sketched it out in just black ink and like really thin down black ink and a brush, and I'm just gonna go back and basically play like fill in the lines and just color everything in and do all the shading just like I would anything else, and it'll be super fun.
Cool. What is can you talk about your list for
Yeah, sure,
for
man.
Chaos Knights?
It's a rampager with the with the enhancement that lets me force someone to take a battle shot at the beginning of the fight phase in close combat.
Is the Rampager the tentacle arm dude or the melee
No,
guy?
he's got a sword and a power fist, and he moves 12, and he can once per game advance and charge.
He has
And
a sword?
he's got a chain sword and a fist.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Real
Yeah.
good. Well, he has a stubber. He has one little stubber on his chest. That's it. He moves 12. He hits on 2s in melee. He explodes on 6s if he's charged. He gives out an aura of 9 inches, reroll 1s to hit in melee for baby knights. 22 wounds, 3 up armor, 5 up invulnerable and shooting only. Hits like a Mack truck. His sweep with a sword is 18 attacks, hitting on 2s, exploding on 6s. So he's a little bit of a monster, and it's interesting because most like infantry units rely on some type of stratagem support usually to handle a monster like that, whether it's a defensive stratagem to absorb the attacks, or it's like you're like chosen where they turn on reroll all hits and all wounds so they can charge in to smash something. Super sick is that because I force a battle shock, my opponent has to realize there is a non-trivial percentage chance that they will have no stratagem support in the ensuing fight phase.
Okay. And is that at a -1?
It's at a -1. And not only that, on turns 3 on, if your battle shock, you are -1 to hit a Chaos Knight. And if your battle shock, they are +1 to wound you.
So he's basically hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with exploding 6s. So that's what, like 22 hits on average?
Yeah, something like that.
And then he's +1 to wound.
He doesn't have rerolls. He's just hitting on 2s. No rerolls.
Oh, I thought you said he gives reroll
reroll 1s for baby knights within 9.
Oh, he doesn't benefit from that. Okay.
No, so it's just even, right? Like it's probably 20 hits. He's just like a smashy monster. He can advance and charge once per game. He can go through walls with both the new inbuilt ability and Knights of Shade. And so on the table, starting on the line, he has a 32-inch threat range on turn 1. And that's maximum range. But since most opponents, a lot of opponents make the mistake of like staying outside of maximum range rather than average range, right? Or like just slightly inside of maximum range. So it's enough to like make my opponent see the board in a lot of cases. I mean, like I don't want to get charged by a gigantic monster. I mean, he kills like everything he hits, right? Even with a fist, it's flat 8 damage. So like even halved 3 punches through can potentially kill a Catan. But like I've charged a Catan 3 times with a Rampager, and I've killed a Catan 3 times with a Rampager. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like between the charge, tank shock, punch, maybe some incremental shooting ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then it's 9 babies, 4 brigands, 4 carnivores, 1 huntsman purely for points. Huntsman's got the melta cannon and a little melt on his head. All the other knights have the indirect. So it's 8
so
indirect,
much indirect.
It's 8 indirect pods, right? And then I've got 2 nurglings for screening and being a pain in the butt, and then 1 sloppity bile piper and 1 beast of nurgle.
So shooting all the havoc launchers, because that's what 8d6 shots with
8d6 blast. So if you're at 10, the first 3. If you're like a Eldar, if you're like a T4 unit, the first 3 will probably get their blast. Me 2 will get their blast.
So on average, how much trash are you wiping out a turn with all those havoc launchers?
It's usually like honestly because you're hitting on 4s. It's variable shots. It's usually like 1 to 3 squads of very light trash. Because like even with like cultists, it usually takes 3 to 4 pods to kill 1 squad of cultists. because it's AP0 or AP1. If it's AP0, then they're on cover, and then whatever. So it's not like hyper efficient, but what it does do is if you have like a squad of witches sitting in the back on an objective, or some random Kabalite trash somewhere, or you have something, it's like not threatened, it's like not immune. The coolest thing that I like to do is I will just go along the line and try to put a single wound or remove a single model from each unit that I can target with indirect shooting. Like I'll put a couple pods into a squad of Marines to get them down by one model. And I'll do that along the line. Over the course of the game, I will pick one guy of like every unit over the course of the first 3 turns. What that means is in the second half of the game, turns 3 onwards, literally everything in their army is battle shocking like every single turn.
Yeah.
And that becomes suddenly incredibly problematic, where you're literally rolling 6 battle shocks a turn because some rando got picked off by one indirect missile like 2 turns ago.
Smart.
Like even just forcing like one wound onto it's funny forcing like a wound onto like a transport. My favorite is getting transports down to 1 wound and then popping them in the battle shock phase and like the morale phase.
Ooh.
When they fail a battle shock and I do the second grenade, then they blow up in the battle shock phase and the unit that gets out can do nothing all game the whole turn. So it's like it's kind of like instant killing 2 units in one go. It's pretty great.
Wow,
That's good.
It's a good way to use that.
Yeah, I like it. But it's fun. It's going to be super sweet because I'm like, it's got 4-hour rounds and I'm playing Chaos Knights.
4-hour rounds? Wow.
Yeah, and only 2 rounds a day.
It's luxurious.
Yeah, that is a gentleman's schedule right there.
I could put it clock to me, go get a beer, come back, and still be fine.
Man. So do you have all your travel arrangements ready to go for both of you?
I still actually don't have a place to stay. But
I do. But that might also be partially because I'm bringing my significant other, so she's planned a lot of the things.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a place to stay in the last minute. The people I was going to stay with left the team. There was a change in staffing. So I know that I talked to maybe crashing on the New Zealand couch, but I'll probably just book a hotel if I don't find anything here the next day or 2.
Okay.
No.
What is a trip like this running financially?
Plane tickets were $1,200 round trip.
Okay.
That's not too bad. And that's with like a little extra leg room and whatever. What I see the going rate is looks like $150 a night ish, $200 a night.
Oh, that's not bad.
So that's another $1,200. And then you think beer and food and all those things, living it up, probably another $1,000 worth of, food and beverage.
Okay.
I think like $3,500 is what I think. I think you could probably have a very enjoyable, unstressed trip to Belgium for $3,500.
Okay. Nice.
Which is like not nothing, but also is not like hyper extreme. Definitely more expensive places to go. I would say that the Vegas trip is probably more expensive.
Honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Because nothing in Vegas is cheap. You can't you can't get food in Vegas anywhere with any level of convenience for less than $30 every time you eat, right?
Holy shit.
And that's like,
wow.
That's
if you get a drink and a burger, you're paying $25.
That's like stadium prices or like movie theater food prices.
Yeah, I mean it's basically
everywhere.
Vegas is basically a movie. Like there's some things that'll be cheaper here and there, but like I think your average, correct me if I'm wrong, Kaz, your average is probably $25 a meal.
Truth.
And that's if you're not eating the fancy crap, right? If you want to go to like, I don't know, Gordon Ramsay's pub and go have delicious shepherd's pie, you're going to spend $70 before you walk out the door between food, appetizer, a beer, and tip, right? So if you're eating like let's say you want to do the same level of luxurious that you're doing in Belgium for amount, probably spending $40 a meal, right? Maybe less for breakfast. So let's say 20 for breakfast, 40 for lunch, 40 for dinner. So that's $100 a day. You're down there for 5 days. That's $500 before you even add the beverages and anything else. And then also you can't really walk, like you can walk places in Vegas, but you really have to get car service because like something that is on the strip, it might actually be like 4 miles away on the other side of the strip.
Oh,
and depending on when you're there, the weather can be really, really inhospitable. Like I go to a hacking conference in the summer usually, and it'll be like 108, right? In the winter, it's much different, obviously, but still. So like, and then the hotel is going to be $200 to $300 a night or more. But then there's a bunch of resort fees and all that kind of stuff. And so I would say that I would say that probably the airfare is significantly cheaper, but the rest of the expenses when you're in Vegas is probably more than Belgium.
I would concur. I mean, we'll see. This is my first WTC, but yeah, there's a reason why I am not coming to Vegas this year, and it's because I'm going to Belgium instead.
I told Joe that if he went to Vegas, I'd go to Vegas. I did not get the LVO ticket yet, so I'll either have to pick one up on secondhand or just go hang out. I'm gonna go to Vegas as long as Joe goes to Vegas.
I didn't get a ticket.
Oh,
yeah.
I told you to go if you went.
I know. I thought like a bunch of people were gonna go, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna eat like an $800 hotel bill right now by myself. So
yeah,
a bunch of people will go. But you and I can talk about it afterwards. If you want to go, I will support you.
We'll see. There's plenty of other events that I'm gonna try to travel to next year.
Also, like 1 million people always drop from Vegas. There's no like shortage of ticket.
Okay. Maybe we'll try.
There's also like you can go and do the fun stuff like the teams or the narrative or whatever.
Oops. All right. I guess we're jumping into Tacoma real quick. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I went to the Tacoma Open. I played World Eaters. I had the supreme arrogance of taking an army that I had one practice rep with and one RTT with. So I did a practice rep. I went and won an RTT and went directly to Tacoma. Hit my first Thousand Suns opponent. Played a super KG. He was a little inexperienced player. Got the win. Then after that, I do not remember what I played. Eventually, I played against Space Wolves. And then eventually, my last game of my top bracket was against, this was amazing, was against a World Eaters mirror. And the coolest part was our Angron stood on either side of the table being cagey. And on one turn, I recovered assets with my Angron. And so on the next turn, he got recovered assets, so he did it. But I had like heroic Angron a little forward on a charge. So it's just a little farther forward than his was comparatively. And so then I yeeted him across the board and killed his Angron while he was trying to recover assets.
Oh, man. Did he fight on death?
Did and killed my Angron.
Oh.
And then it was immediately his turn and he rolls 666s. And I roll my blood drive and I roll 666s. And then I rapid ingress on his turn.
Holy moly.
That's a wild game right there.
It was wild. I got it, but it was wild. That was my 8th game of Warhammer, my 8th game of
World Eaters.
Then I got into the winner's bracket, and I was super excited about that. And I played against Jeff Jew from XPZ, who's a great player. He's playing Deathwing Knights, so I, 2 damage army into a reduced damage by 1 melee units. Not super good. Then I played into Guard, and Guard just print points.
Is that even a winnable matchup?
Me? I mean, I lost by 1.
Oh, so yes, it is.
yeah, absolutely. It came down to like the very last like shoestring like thing together. It came down to the fact that I chose not to kill Gaunt's ghosts earlier in the game because there were other things I had to deal with.
Oh no, I meant against the Dark Angels.
I mean, it was a 10-point loss, so I think it is winnable, but it's like a 30-40% chance, right? Okay. Playing against a really good player who doesn't make mistakes in a situation like you just think it's probably not. It's definitely not in my favor. And then I played the reddest match of all time, which is World Leaders into Thousand Suns, played by a competent player. I played against Rob from Goonhammer. And as he will say, which is totally accurate, he beat the brakes off of me. It was on Terraform Stalwarts. So he's playing rubric spam on Stalwarts on Terraform. He went first, pushed across the table. He got bad dice, so he didn't want to kill me that much, but then I didn't clap back hard enough. And then he just pieced me apart. It was like a 35-point loss. I mean, I still kept it as close as I could, but like it was whatever.
Did Magnus and Angron get to spar?
No, I killed Magnus with an MOE in 10 circles. That's the tool that kills Magnus.
Wow.
Because the MOE hits at strength 7, +1 wound against monsters and vehicles, rerolling all hits and wounds.
Yep.
Right.
And doing devastating wounds on 6s with 3 damage. Right. And then the Berserkers put 1,000,000 1 damage attacks through.
That's crazy.
So,
I just imagine him like he's just like running up to Magnus and then like somersault, like double jumps up into the air, somersaults, and just decapitates him with his giant axe.
Yeah, dude. One of the coolest though was in round 1. I played Thousand Suns into World Leaders, and he charged my Karn with Magnus, and I just rolled all 4-ups for my invulnerable saves. So like only 1 went through, and he went to damage. He went to 1 wound, and then I swung back with Karn and brought Magnus down to 4 wounds. And then when he killed Magnus on the following turn, I fought on death and killed Magnus. Oh, no. I brought Magnus down to 1 wound. Then he ran away, and my Zerkers threw a grenade over their shoulder and killed
Nice.
And then my last round, I played against Necrons, and it was pretty good. I think Angron came back 3 times or something. It was super funny. I just kept yeeting him at him over and over again. He killed him once with a Nightbringer, and then I came immediately back, charged and killed the Nightbringer. Like, he shot me to death with a couple of the Doomsday barges. Then I came immediately back and charged and killed a Doomsday barge. Like, it's just, I don't know. It was like yo-yo Angron.
What is the percentage that Angron comes back every time you do a blood tithe?
I mean, 3 6s, so on 8 dice. So it's like, I mean, 1 out of 6 would be 136, right?
Whoa, you are asking the wrong math guy over here.
It's a pretty small chance.
Okay, all right.
So, but I think like, and this kind of ties into the thing that we were going to talk about is that that whole week I was also doing like mindfulness stuff that my therapist had suggested. Like, basically, I have a little bell that goes off that tells me to like reflect on a certain checklist of like checking in on myself. And so I was like processing a lot of like heavy stuff that weekend. That didn't impact my games, I don't think. Like, I mean, all my games I lost on my games, right? Like, but like I was definitely like off in my mental space. I was having a great time hanging out with friends, but like I was definitely like not all into the game environment because of my hyper awareness of what was going on in myself. Yeah. And then I almost got like the bye last round, but I still got paired into Necrons. So like I was like realized I was gonna have to sit there for a whole 3-hour round for the last round of the day, and I got like really down, and reflected on all that stuff, and then I played and it was good. But like looking back at this weekend, it kind of made me think about how the last couple months of 40K for me have been a little bit of a struggle with lots of things going on in my life, my personal life, that like work and kids and all that stuff. And also not having a faction I'm super excited about, and not really having a lot of active goals right now. And then we were kind of like in a waiting period to see what was going to happen with WTC lists and stuff. And then my faction getting changed a bunch. I'm like I think I'm coming out on the other side, but I'm just coming out on the other side of like what was not an exceptional mental health period for me, and was also a pretty like lackluster like rut mentally for me for 40K. And I'm like trying to figure out how to shake the dust off. Cass, I think you had a little of this too.
Yeah.
Want to talk about
it? It's been a lot of just life things outside of 40K, really, that have just, time of year, busyness, work kind of picking up. And then, just kind of missing the mark with 40K things. And again, like hobbying, I started doing commissions. And I think that might have been fine for me last year, the way that work was last year, the way that, my schedule and my life was. But this year it was very much everything all at once all the time. And I've definitely hit a wall and been burnt out, because of external events. I wasn't able to go to Tacoma, but honestly, I think that was probably for the best given where my headspace is. So I also have WTC to look forward to. I'm not playing, I'm coaching, but I am excited to be part of the team and help everyone out. But I think for me, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the vacation I have afterwards. And I think it's important that sometimes we give ourselves a break. Even though I'm still, thinking about hobby projects and planning my next thing I'm going to do, etc. It is definitely okay to just take some time and kind of, give yourself some space from 40K. That being said, I even have the end date of my break with, things like Charity Hammer and a GT kind of before then. So, making sure that I'm not kind of taking an off ramp and losing my momentum, if you will, because I have had a pretty good year in Warhammer overall. But I think it's important to kind of recognize where you're at. And my thing that I never want to do in this hobby is to go to a tournament, have a bad time, and take it out on my opponent. I'm very mindful of that. I've been on the receiving end of that, and it's not fun. And really, that's not who I want to be. So I figure in my case, it's kind of best to just take a step back and take a break.
Are you you're only working on commission right now?
Until I'm done, yeah, that's about where I'm at. I think I'm probably winding down the practice, if you will. So I've got 2 armies that I'm working through, and once I'm done, I think I'm, at least for the foreseeable future, done for a while.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I'm definitely feeling that too. I feel pretty acutely the not wanting to lose momentum, because I too have had a pretty good year. And I still like this game, but also got to be gentle to yourself, right? So you gotta, if something isn't bringing you joy and it's a game, you shouldn't slog through it.
Totally.
Right. So my thing I've always told myself is, if I'm not having fun, I'm going to stop playing. Right. So if I can't find a way to invent fun in the game where I can go into a game in a good mood, give my opponent a good game, be happy and excited. If 40K becomes work, I'm not excited to go do it, then I'm going to stop playing. And I'm not there, but I'm not there yet, but there was definitely a little bit of risk.
Yeah. And
I think I'm starting to come through a little. But I think one thing to say too is what we're talking about is having some struggles with the game that are compounded by life situations, and making things more difficult. I want to give a nod to the fact that there are people that you may not know are going through, are sitting at the table with you sometimes, or in your friend group, who are going some real shit, some real life messing up, bowel liquefying, trauma inducing shit, and you have no idea, right? You don't have an idea until someone tells you what someone is going through. I don't have anything to say name, but I had a friend who was just a tournament friend.
Yeah.
And we were at a really huge tournament. Popped outside, saw him out there. And I was like, hey, man, I noticed you're a little off. You doing all right? And he's like, I'll be honest, man, no. And I'm like, all right. So we were not super close. But he just emptied a huge thing of massive marital problems and life changes and all this shit, and struggling with that back that he was a dad, and self loathing and all these things, right? And I had no idea I was going through that. So like, I just want to make sure we give a nod to the fact that like, if you're someone who needs help, who is like really struggling, you can reach out to. There are people who will be happy to listen to you, even if you,
100%.
you know, whatever. And then also there are like a ton of great resources, like counseling lines and those kind of things, crisis centers you can reach out to if you're really kind of like on the far end. Because I think like it's a game, it's fun. There's also like a significant amount of like macho man stuff that goes on in 40K. Like we are not generally like the environment is not perceived as a very welcoming environment to non-male people, right? There's a little bit of machismo, like bravado, kind of hanging as a cloud over us, and I think that also kind of pushes away emotional vulnerability, being willing to talk about struggles, real men don't cry kind of bullshit. It is bullshit. I cry all the time. Like, so I don't know. I mean, we're talking about game struggles, and I think that's super important because we want this to be fun. But like, there's a level at which like you just probably need to step back and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a pretty rough summer at work, so a lot of the stuff I can't really talk about because it's still in litigation. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just summertime. People get crazy. I don't know. Like I said, Memorial Day to Labor Day. People just lose their minds and go berserk. I don't know what the deal is, and usually, they're violent or becoming violent and threatening people, and then I have to show up and take care of business, and it's usually there's usually no good way to handle these types of situations. No. So, I work in a small community. Oops. I had a guy the other week. We know each other. I've had to speak with him several times in the past, and he was in the midst of a crisis, and he needed to get some help, and got into a standoff out in the yard for about an hour and a half, and I finally got him under control, and he's going to threaten my family. He's going to come into my house, and he later apologized for that. But I mean, it's just when shit like that boils over into your personal life, it's just
a very different level of stress too.
Yes. Fear is what it is, because anxiety.
An entirely different lower level.
So that's just one example of several things. There are a couple bigger things that are still going on. So, with not necessarily me, but other people in my department that I'm kind of involved with. So I can't really talk about that stuff, but it's been shitty, but it's like this every year. So, I like, it is just these 3 months. It's just like you just got to keep your head down and get through it.
It's interesting because I feel like this kind of reinforces something I've said a lot is like, you come for the 40K and you stay for the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I would not be nearly as like, I probably wouldn't be still playing this game if it wasn't for like, I have a wonderful team who I'm very close with, or like you two wonderful gentlemen.
Yeah.
Like, I know we have a silly little podcast that has like 40 people who watch it, right? I have no delusions of grandeur in terms of our internet presence.
But you wait, Noah. Wait a couple weeks. We'll see what happens.
Why?
We have banked clout waiting to come in. Okay.
Banked clout?
Yeah.
Oh, is this the model thing?
Yeah.
Sick. Let's go. Make sure you send them all of the hashtags and the TikTok names and the Instagrams. Yeah, but like, despite that or whatever, like, I look forward every 2 weeks to like, after each Thursday, I look forward to the next Thursday to hang out with you yahoos and talk about 40K stuff.
Yeah.
And chill out. And It's good. But it's like, it's hard to lose sight of what's important sometimes, which is not your win rate or the games of 40K or the models you're working on, but like whether or not you're having fun and whether or not the game is currently contributing positively to your mental health or negatively to your mental health.
Yeah. And I mean, like in my case, I don't think the game has anything to do with it. I think it's bandwidth, mental bandwidth issue. Um, and for that reason, like, it's sometimes it's necessary to just take a break because you got to deal with other shit. Like, and Joe, in your case, I don't know whether Warhammer helps or hinders or no.
Oh, very, very much a help.
So like,
Yeah.
for in the same way, like it can help you out, whereas I need a break, right? So it's a different situation for everyone because everyone's situation is different. And
I
everyone
think
deals with things
sometimes
differently.
I do use it as an escape too much. So, but
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy. So with this mindfulness, like basically I have a bell that goes off on my phone every 15 or 30 minutes, depending what I was set to. And I'm supposed to like sit and go through this checklist of like, where am I holding tension in my body? What am I currently worried about? How am I currently feeling? And what's my level of escalation? Like, and I'm supposed to work through this process. I find that this goes off. I found that I think a lot of guys and dads do this. I hide in the bathroom like a lot. And I've only just recently realized that like I go to the bathroom, like, poop or something, and I'm there for like 25 minutes. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Just hiding out on my phone in the quiet of my bathroom, right? And I've since
that's where I write lists. I don't know about you, but
so I like because my at the 15-minute mark, no matter what, where we're doing, my bell goes off. I found myself realizing like one of the things on my checklist. Oh, I'm currently hiding, and I do that in other places in my life too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I do errand in my truck, and I come back and I just park in the parking lot of my house in the driveway and just wait and just sit on my phone for a little bit or finish a podcast or something. I realized that not hiding from my life, but hiding from just like the next flow of chaos that I'm going to go, slip into. So I do find that like I think 40K offers a non-hiding escape. Right, every Wednesday I go and play with my team. A couple times a week I play a TTS game and just chill out and go sit and paint. Like it does offer, I think, a little bit of escape, and I think escape is good sometimes.
I know you mentioned about holding tension in your body.
Yeah.
What is your response to that supposed to be?
Well, I think most people, if you think about it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what your life experience is, but for me, if like, so basically what you do is with all these exercises, and I'm a little bit of a fanboy because like I've been going to therapy now for almost 2 years, consistently every week, one day every week, and we do this stuff called EMDR and lifespan, which is like they map out your whole life, mapping each year to events, to like a single event, poignant event that year, and then you kind of like they talk you through going back through like your experiences that have led to your formation of your current like feelings, thoughts, trauma responses, whatever. And part of that, like after every session or every little part of the thing where you're like thinking about things, they do a body check-in, and one of that is like, where are you currently holding tension? So what I've found about myself is that if I am dealing with something that is like a problem related to something I am responsible for, like I need to get something done, I need to get something done for work, I have to take the kids somewhere, and I'm like stressed out about something, like a responsibility, my shoulders and upper back are tense. Like I can feel almost like if I think about it, I feel like my center of gravity is focused on my shoulders, is what it feels like. But if I'm worried about something emotional, that like maybe I got in a fight with my wife, or we're struggle, there's some type of marital struggle or whatever, it's all in the back of my head and my ears, like literally to the point that my right here feels warm, and I feel almost like like a tightness in the skin, like it's pushing my head forward, like I'm supposed to go do something. And then there's the other one is like, if I feel like I should be doing something, but I'm not doing something, like there's a million minor tasks that need to get completed and I'm not doing anything, I feel the stress is more in my lower back and my stomach, right? And I don't know if that's true for everybody, but I have noticed having to do all these check-ins that when specific emotional conditions are met, it's like immediately I'm like, oh, that emotional condition is met. And every time that met, I have tension. My shoulders feel tighter, or my arms feel heavier, or my head feels warm, or whatever.
Interesting. I mean, I've never thought about where I know, where I tell my massage therapist to work on, but I've never thought about the why am I here? Why are my shoulders up to my ears?
Yeah. Next time you're like stressed about, let's say work, Joe. Next time you're stressed about work, take a minute, take a deep breath.
Now.
What?
Right now.
You take a deep breath and just ask yourself, like, where is the part of my body that feels the most queued up? Right? I feel like there's like a dick joke here somewhere, but let's not go there. And then there's and then the next time you're emotionally frustrated or upset about something that is not necessarily work procedural, but feelings, ask yourself that again. And I don't know what it means. I don't know if it helps, but what it's helped me a little bit is when I'm under stress, but I haven't registered it yet, because when I'm doing something, I don't check in on myself. So if I'm working on something like painting or cleaning the house or doing something, I do not check in with my well-being at all. So I could be getting more tense and stressed out and frustrated, but I'm not registering it at all. And then someone comes and says some fucked up shit to me and I get pissed, right? And I I'm more reactive than I normally would be. So the reason I'm doing this awareness is to check in on if I'm escalated before I get to the point where I, vent my stress at someone who might not deserve it. And so, it's just like a warning marker, oh, my shoulders, I'm probably stressed out some shit. I should go, and then one of the big questions is, can you release that stress? And can you release that stress right now? So if you're stressed out about work, can you release that stress? Yes, by doing X, Y, Z. Can I do it right now? No. Okay, if you're not going to do it right now, what can you do to make sure you continue to be aware of it so it's not impacting other things in your life? And one thing she suggests is I write it down. If I can't deal with it right now, I write it down.
You write it down, you said?
Yeah. It doesn't really do anything other than it kind of feels like I have set it specifically aside in my to deal with later folder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's almost like I just it's the book's problem right now. I don't know, man. I think, 2 years ago, if someone asked me about the therapy stuff, I probably would say my answer would probably be a little incredulous. But it has had a real significant impact on me, and it's different for everybody. But for me, it has resulted in me being much happier and healthier.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely have been a long time client of a therapist, and it's been a really good thing. I used to have anger issues, believe it or not.
No fucking way.
I generally come across pretty calm, but that's something I had to earn. I didn't come out the box this way.
I've only seen you seriously mad one time that wasn't about someone being a dick at 40K, and it was literally that restaurant.
I knew exactly where you were talking about.
This waitress was really unreasonable and rude to Kaz, and you could see his eyes just like he had like wasn't a person.
Wow.
We left. I didn't do anything.
Whoa, the walkout.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even get seated.
What was the issue?
It was a bunch of things.
Okay.
But the core part of it was they wanted to seat us in one area, but then she said no, because basically it's how they hand off they rotate through who gets seated in what areas to be equal to all the servers.
Mm-hmm.
There was a server who had 3 open tables, and they were in a seatable area. But the next place to be seated was a different zone that was completely full. And they would not seat us at that table that was near our other friends and group, no matter what, regardless. and it was just like completely. It seemed really unreasonable. We had like a party of 6, so whoever got us was going to make like, like 50, 60 bucks or more in tips.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we did have a lovely time at the restaurant across the street,
We did.
to be fair. But yeah, so hopefully I won't face that same server. That was in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Can I point out something? This is good for my mental health.
Please.
My children are all getting older. I have a 21-year-old now. I have an 11-year-old. I have an 8-year-old. 11 and the 8-year-old have got into making cookies on like a regular basis.
Oh,
I have
hell
had
yeah.
a steady flow of very delicious cookies produced with no effort required from me or my wife, like multiple days in a row. And then my sibling, who's mostly nocturnal, they come up they usually come upstairs for good at like 9:00 p.m. and hang out until like 2 in the morning and then go back downstairs. They've been making cookies on like the off days in the middle of the night. So it's not good for me, like physically. But mentally, I've had a steady supply of butterscotch chocolate chip cookies for like a week.
Butterscotch chip, of all things. Wow.
Butterscotch chip is good, dude. Little salt on top of the cookie.
That's cool.
A fat guy knows.
Yep. Cookies and ice cream, man. That's my
problem. Are you coming to Charity Hammer, Joe?
This year, no. I can't with Champions Cup like 2 weeks after that.
That's fair.
Yeah. I would like to, but I told Colin I'll see if I can swing it next year.
Speaking of Champions Cup, are you excited about Champions Cup?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing, but.
Well, we're going to start teams discussions early next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
That'll be I was supposed to do my first ever team event last weekend.
What happened?
In Canada. And they had 8 teams signed up, and we would have made a 9th, and they were like, we don't have enough people to make a ringer team, so.
Oh.
Yep.
You guys go to like an RTT or something instead?
Oh, funny you should mention that. So yes, I drove 6 hours to an RTT in Wisconsin, on the western end of Wisconsin, with my wife and kids, because my wife's family is from Minnesota, so she was gonna go visit her aunts. And then I totally botched jobbed this. I booked the hotel room for the wrong weekend, so that was cool. First of all, and they were having some festival in town. So we did get a hotel room, but it was at a extreme price gouge rate because it was festival time. And then the biggest botch job was that the tournament was actually on Sunday, not Saturday.
Oh no!
So that was not feasible. So with summer school for me.
So you didn't play?
I did not. No. So
you drove 6 hours to pay too much for a hotel room?
Yes.
Nice.
We did visit with the in-laws, and we saw Despicable Me 4 for the second time.
Classic dad move.
So that was cool. Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking. Although I feel like it's kind of rare for tournaments to be like RTTs to be on Sundays, but
it is. There's a couple that like we have some, and we have this one called 40K Fight Club.
Yeah. Run
by the austere Stephen Wilhite of Space Marine Steve fame from Play on Tabletop. And it's on Sundays, but it's like almost like most of the time it's full.
Yeah.
Because you can't really find another Sunday RTT.
So yeah, that was a bit of a shocker to me, and lesson learned: always check the date of your event.
Especially when you're driving 6 hours.
Yeah, that's it's actually been kind of weird. Like Wisconsin has had way more events going on this summer than Lower Michigan has, which is weird. So I've been like a pseudo semi resident of Wisconsin already.
Joe,
This summer.
you were talking about going to Kippers, right?
Yeah, I got that weekend off already, so I'm thinking about making that happen. Sounds like it's a bit of an adventure.
It is. If you come over, well, so first off, aren't you running an event at Kippers, Cass?
At Kippers?
Oh, I thought is Kippers not? Which one's the one you're running an event at?
Oh, Tasha Kippers. That's already done.
Okay. When is Kippers?
Kippers is October or something.
21st, I think, or 22nd, somewhere in there.
Sounds about right.
I'll double check.
Too bad you can't come to Cascade Clash, right?
I know. Are you having another one in March?
March.
If I at the beginning of December, if I have the dates, I'm good.
All right, so you should, if you get time, if you can, come up or stay a little. If you like come up on like let's say the Thursday or something of Kippers, we can like where that is like I live in Linden, which is right on the other side of the border, and then my store is like an hour south. And so you guys can come down, hang out, go to the store, we get meet the team in person. The ones you haven't met yet. I don't know if I'll be able to go. If I can, and there's a ticket, I might go. But I don't think I'll. I think I will be doing too many things in October.
Looks like it's the 26th and 27th.
Yeah, the problem is like right after October we have World Champs.
Oh right, yeah.
Well, I mean, you might too, Joe, because Kippers is a golden ticket for best overall.
We'll see.
Saying,
bro. Bring the pretty army.
Yeah. Well, it's usually a question of utilizing the pretty army, which seems to be a lacking component on my end.
Is it like super frustrating to you that everyone's talking all this like amazing shit about how good Bringers of Flames is, and you're like, how do I like? What do I do?
Seriously, I don't know.
And then you're taking Dark Eldar, which are like not as highly rated at all, just like stomping people into like the earth.
Yeah, I did pretty good. They weren't like super fun to play, but yeah. They play the mission really, really, really well right now. And mandrakes are the shit.
Yes, they are.
Scourges, like... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Scourges hitting on 4s is just really rough. It just makes them so random. Because you have to save your pain tokens for your melee units.
Yeah.
To really make them pop off. So it's like... Scourges are just... I mean, they're non-interactive, which is cool. Just in typical Eldar
They're just
fashion.
not as reliable.
Yeah, they're just so... I mean, it's the same with, like, Retributors, too. Just hitting on 4s. Like, cool. Might get 1, might get 2, might get all 0. Yeah.
That's why I love... one of the reasons I love Chaos Knights into Dark Eldar, because if they put their Scourges on the table and I go first... If they put all 3 Scourges on the table and I go first, they only have 2 squads of Scourges left.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. I was looking at a Chaos Knights list and I'm like, I have to just start everything off the board. Like,
the problem
not in a transport.
You're right, you do. But the problem, like the other edge of that sword is if you don't have like, especially if your opponent goes first, right? So if you start everything with lances and shit that's scary in reserve, like anything that's like 3 squads of Scourges in reserve and whatever, and I go first, I'm going to advance literally my whole army across the table, right? Like, so you're having, 9 models that move 12 inches, move an additional D 6 inches, so an average of 15 inches across like turn 1. So starting on a 24-inch no man's land, they're 9 inches away from the deployment zone. They're on every objective, and you cannot get onto an objective. And then they get 1 more turn, at which point they charge and kill anything that's on the table, shoot the shit out of everything, and then everyone has to come in and start playing the game. It's an incredibly painful position to be in. If you go second, if you go first, it's not that bad. One turn, push up, then you respawn and you pick off some models and you start slapping.
I think I would kind of want the Chaos Knights player to do that, though, because then if you throw everything at me, all 30 Incubi are coming out, and they're just, I think one squad can usually pick up 2 Knights.
What, 10 Incubi?
Yeah, with an Archon.
What's the profile?
3 attacks each. They'll be hitting on 3s, re-rolling. And then their strength 4 with Lance, re-rolling wounds. AP 3, 2 damage each.
So 30 attacks, 20 hits, re-roll 25 hits, let's say.
Yeah.
25 hits, wounding on 5s, which is like basically 9 wounds. Re-rolling, picking up essentially another third of that. So 14 wounds, right? Damage 2 or damage 1?
2.
Okay. So I guess it's 13. It's 13 wounds, damage 2, into a 6-up, right? So 5 of those going through will kill something if they don't have the feel no pain on. If they do have the feel no pain on, then you need like 7 to go through, which doesn't leave enough for to kill the second guy. So the move is, if you were to charge 2 and pop a feel no pain on one of them lives, and preferably it's the brigand that lives, then the brigand just literally shoots you out of combat on the following turn. Right?
Tricky.
And the other thing about it is like to kill your stuff, your vehicles, like ideally what I'm doing is ideally what the Chaos Knight players want to do is get the brigands lined up so they have lines of sight, have the Nurglings and stuff kind of on the back end to make a screen so you can't drop right on top of the brigands, and have the carnivores up front with the rampager. The carnivores go and just pop all your transports and make you walk. And then from that point on, the brigands are just like, oh yeah, indirect gun. Like, they're putting out D6 plus 12 plus 2. So like 17 shots a turn. And then tank shock now matters a lot more. It's like, I've played the Dark Elder matchup a bunch of times, and it's, you want to go first. You want to put your shit in reserve and go first. And you're in a good spot if you pull that off. Also, you just can't out OC the Knight player, because
that is definitely true.
Because they're freaking OC8 morons.
That is just really an obscene number for like a 12 wound vehicle to have.
Yeah.
Spicy.
It is spicy for sure.
I suppose it would be double because they're like the battle line unit.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big guys are OC10.
Yeah.
And also, like, all of Knights don't have a non-battle line small unit option. Yeah. That's the other thing, is like, all of the Knights are battle line other than the characters. That's another thing that like lacks dimension in the army, is that you don't really have trade-offs. So you have you bring your big guys, and they're OC10. Then you bring your battle line, who are just all badass vehicles who are OC8. There's not really a trade-off. Yeah, that'll be fun. I need to get in we'll go here soon, but my first 3 rounds are Austria, New Zealand, and Israel.
Ooh. Okay.
There's Grey Knights in 2 of those armies, and I really want the Grey Knights matchup is super good for Chaos Knights, because they don't have the damage, they don't have the weapon profiles to kill you. You out OC them, and then also you just murder their stuff, and they don't have enough models, and a million different things. The Terminators are harder to deal with than the Dread Knights, but the Dread Knights are literally nothing.
I was gonna say, if you can get that big knight into those Terminators, then I feel like he'd pick him up.
Oh yeah,
easily. Oh, yeah.
Use the flat 3 sweep. You do the tank shock ahead of time. Flat 3 sweep. Yeah,
you're laughing.
I mean, you probably pick up 6 of them, and then okay, now you have 4 Terminators. I don't care.
Man. So yeah, I guess we probably won't have a show in 2 weeks because you guys will be gone.
I'll be in Belgium playing, I think.
Are you doing War Masters, Noah?
I am not.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm going to be drinking beer. I might play a practice game or something that day, but I will be drinking
Okay.
Belgian beer
Yeah.
and getting ready to get my ass kicked by all the best players in the world.
Yeah.
I'll be right there with you, buddy. Drinking beers.
It'll be fun. I like in no way, shape, or form want to play against. Like if you see me matched into a sister's army during this event, something has gone terribly wrong.
Wow.
I'm sorry,
How is that a bad matchup? You literally just kill all their infantry with the indirect, and you out OC them. I don't get it.
But like
They don't hit that hard.
Dude, a ton of melted dudes in immolators and like
They're
and like
4
more than one
shots.
squad coming in from the table and like.
Ugh. I just don't know, man.
I think I know what happened. Did you at any point like do something like have you ever been to like Sir Isaac Newton's grave?
I have not.
Okay, which mathematician's grave did you piss on? Because you were apparently on like the wrong side of the math curve.
Well, like Dominions, they only get 4 shots. Like they're not gonna kill a baby knight with just 4 shots.
I mean, it only takes 2 melta shots within melta range to kill a baby knight, really.
I guess. They're still.
If you have a multi melta, Jesus Christ, please don't.
Yeah, but they're still wounding on 5s. Like that's still just not
Well,
that
sure,
awesome.
but there's like there's the +1. Well, there's the ones that are the meltas that are strength 9, right? There's multi melta. One of them strength 9, right?
Oh, I guess they're all strength 9. Yeah, but you
They are.
have to be right up in their grill to do that.
Yeah, but as soon as you're wounding on 4s, bro, then it's game fucking over.
Well, it's like 4 shots. All right, one of them's gonna miss, and then 2 of them you're wounding on 4s. So then 1 or 2 of those is gonna miss, and
Don't you
then
have 3 more melta shots from the immolator?
you'd have 2.
You get 2 more melta shots from each immolator, so that's 6, and 3 from the minions, that's 12, and then you have freaking Morvenval squad, that's 9 trillion shots, whatever the fuck that is, and then you've got whatever else is in that army, and then you've got a ton of freaking play. You just hide and also like those indirects are not that good against 3-up armor.
3-up armor, yeah.
Because you're 3-up armor, I'm no AP.
Yeah, but you have the mortal wounds, the like indirect mortal wounds.
Yeah, you have to fail a battle shock for that to occur.
Sisters are leadership 7 for some reason.
Sure, so are my knights. It's fine.
What the fuck?
I don't know about you. I would love to live. I would personally love to live in a world where sisters is a favorite matchup for me. Sure, love that.
Okay. Again, I'm just mad. So I mean, I know they're strong and people are having lots of success with them. So something is.
But then like people are saying that like Dark Eldar aren't that strong and you're getting successful with that. So I just think you're just like in a weird liminal space right now, man.
I just want to play Dread Mob.
Play Dread Mob.
I'm working on it. I have a lot of infantry to paint.
Oh, you're gonna do flash kits and ludas with.
Yeah, I'm doing ludas. Burna Boys are apparently amazing with the mech in the unit, and then 2 units of kilocans. But...
Well, we have waxed into the ramble world, so we should probably say goodbye. I gotta go up and be a parent. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming with us on our mental health adventure and listening to us ramble. But we love you very much, and hopefully, if you're listening, you come back soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Ciao.